mission to be digital to the core. I'm joined by Henry Aguda, CTO of Union Bank, to learn more. Henry, thank you so much for joining me.
Hey Shannon, thank you for coming over, and this is a great afternoon to have this interview.
Oh, absolutely. So I'd love to learn more about Union Bank. They're obviously a pioneer within the industry. So talk to me about this initiative to become digital to the core.
Well, Union Bank decided to do digital transformation more than a decade ago, but it was only 3 years back that a lot of the things started accelerating. And this started with my chairman talking to us about financial inclusion. So in the Philippines, which is a developing country, only 20% has financial services. So a lot of our countrymen don't have access to formal banking accounts. So our chairman said, we need to address this social need, and we will do this not by building brick and mortar, but by going digital. So our digital transformation is actually anchored on addressing a social need.
And am I correct in saying that you're still the only bank in the Philippines with an open API platform?
Yes, as of today, we're the only bank in the Philippines that publishes and allows fintechs and other companies to access our APIs. You can go to our developer.unionbankph.com and get the APIs yourself from the web.
And what are the benefits of having an open platform?
Oh, wow. Being open, it means you're not only open in the Philippines, but since we use international standards, you're also open outside of the Philippines. So our APIs can be accessed not just by companies in the Philippines, but also here, like fintechs in Singapore or fintechs in the US or in Europe. Another advantage is previously, fintechs have to wait 6 months to never to be able to access a banking API. In our case, this is a famous story that our CEO always says. He met a fintech company that requested to be connected to Union Bank. And during that request, they were already connected to our APIs. And our chairman was happy to note that, hey, you don't have to wait even a day to get connected to our banking services.
That's incredible.
Yep.
So talk to me about the technology-enabled products you're currently offering. What's the focus right now?
So we have 3 guiding principles for all the technology-enabled products. 1, it has to be customer-centric. Second, it has to have self-service. And third, and this is very important, everything we build has to have financial inclusion in mind. So how does this translate? So we've created an app. Like most banks would already have an app, but our app can work in the rural areas and in the low bandwidth areas in the provinces as well. So from urban to rural, it works, and it's available 24/7. So we use a mix of blockchain as well to provide other products like financial supply chain that even allows you to track tuna. So that's how good our ability to track the financial supply chain. You'll know where the tuna came from.
So there's actually a term, tuna traceability.
Tuna traceability on blockchain. That's unique for us. Then we also created a blockchain for rural banks. Now, this is important. In the Philippines, there used to be 3,000 rural banks. And rural banks are the ones servicing our underserved countrymen in the provinces. That 3,000 has now gone down to less than 400. And it's because rural banks are not connected to one another. So we decided to create a blockchain-enabled network to allow rural banks to transact with one another. And not only are they transacting between rural banks in the Philippines, they're now transacting rural banks to another bank in Singapore. So they can now do cross-border transaction. And then we have solutions that are powered by AI, allowing us to upsell, cross-sell, and allowing our customers to have a wider range of options for their services.
And what other successful use cases have you seen come out of these technologies?
Oh, okay. So among those use cases, we're into sovereign identity. This is allowing our customers to be secure in the fact that their privacy is protected and they own the data that's associated with them. We also launched a stablecoin. Now, what's a stablecoin? A stablecoin is not a cryptocurrency. It's a coin that allows cross-border remittance without the usual cost of transferring money across borders. So it allows Filipinos working overseas to seamlessly transfer money to people in the Philippines without paying an arm and a leg. And that's only because we've implemented technology, specifically blockchain. We've also launched the first Bitcoin ATM in the Philippines.
Bitcoin ATM.
Yes, Bitcoin ATM. So people can now withdraw and deposit ATM transactions in our branches. And we're the first bank that did that.
And what has been the reception of that?
Oh, fantastic. Of course, like most Bitcoin transactions, it depends on the fluctuation of the price.
Of course.
Right now, I think a lot of people will start buying Bitcoins of late. Yeah.
Absolutely. So talk to me about the future a little bit then.
Uh-huh.
What will be the focus?
Oh, wow. So the future will be AI. You've seen the robot downstairs. Her name's Eve. So imagine a bank branch where you go in and Eve greets you, knows you. Not only does she know you, but she can remember everything that you've done and transacted. So imagine a year later going to our branch and Eve says, "Hey Shannon, it's your birthday again. Oh, by the way, during your last birthday, you took out a loan or you withdrew a certain amount. Would you like to do that today also?" Now imagine all of our branches with Eve. Wherever you go, Eve will know the transaction and your preferences. So that's the future. In fact, the future starts next year as we deploy. Well, watch out for the number of Eves that we'll deploy out there. Right now we have one in Manila. Her sisters are all being reprogrammed already to train as branch ambassadors.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, that's truly incredible to see. You know, humans will ultimately be having that hybrid experience
Yes,
at
they will.
banks.
They will.
And what's ultimately driving this innovation? Is it consumer demand? Is it business demand? Is it a mix of both?
It's both, actually. So from the consumer side of it, we've noticed that our customers are more engaged with us. So when
Because
we
of technology.
because of technology. So before we started the digital transformation, only 5% of our transactions are digital, which means only 5% are kept in a database that we can mine and we can explore. 3 years later, 98% of our transactions
Just 3 years.
are digital,
Wow.
which means we know their preferences already, we can anticipate their needs. And guess what? The transactions we had 3 years ago, it grew by 3,000 times. So we know more about them and they're more digital than ever before. So if, you've heard of the adage, data is the new oil, well, we have an oil well with so much to mine. So AI and as we collect more data becomes more and more experience rich for our customer. On the business side, I don't want to do any unofficial disclosure, but I will maybe anticipate the financial performance of Union Bank at the end of the year. A lot of them is driven by digital. It's going to be fantastic. So from a business sense, it makes sense. Our costs are down, our revenue are up, and a lot of it is driven by digital.
Now that's where you want to be, obviously.
Yes, yes.
And outside of AI and blockchain, is there any other technology you're focusing on right now that maybe has you excited?
Wow, quantum computing. So our chairman had this epiphany. We have to now let people experience quantum computing. So we're in talks with partners to explore how to use quantum computing. And the next one, guess what? We're a technology company with a banking franchise, but next year we'll be into e-gamings.
E-gaming.
E-gaming.
I did not see that coming.
I didn't see that coming also 2 months ago, but our chairman had this epiphany again. We have to compete in the e-games, the Olympics of e-games. So now we're rushing to develop our e-games team in Manila. First bank in the Philippines who will have their own professional e-games team competing.
What's the benefit of being in the e-game space as a
Ah.
bank?
As a bank, again, customer and business. From a customer standpoint, we see that a lot of the millennials are into the gaming mindset already. And we see that. I mean, kids nowadays that are going to grow up into the workforce of tomorrow.
And it's automatically translating to their financial lives.
Yes, because you know what they say, gamify, gamify, gamify. So go to the core of how they're brought up. And from a business standpoint, it's a growing market. It's stand to be more profitable than the usual sports in the future. So from a bank, where there's profit, there has to be banking. So next year when we do this fintech festival, we'll have an e-games team here ready for you to interview as well.
Well, I'm very much looking forward to that. Henry, thank you so much for your insights.
You're very much welcome. Yeah.
From Medici Studio, I'm Shannon Rossick.